Cultura, but also to One World Rental as our headline sponsor. So the first of our sessions today, our tech session, starts with Lux Narayan, who is the co-founder at StreamAlive. So over to you, Lux.
Hey, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Awesome, thank you. Hey, thanks folks for joining. Hopefully we'll have more people joining us, but the good news is we've got a couple of goodies. So the less the number of people, the higher your chances of winning them. So both ways is good, yeah? So everything's good. I'm Lux Narayan, CEO and co-founder at StreamAlive, and over the next 12 to 15 minutes, I hope to show you what we do, why we're different, and hopefully how we can help you with your live sessions. So we are an AI-based audience engagement platform, and I know everyone and their dog is talking about AI now, so it's important to clarify. We use AI in two interesting ways. One is to interpret what people are saying, and the second is to help them with suggestions. And I'll try and show you both of those today as we go through it. I'm going to request everyone to keep your phones open in the camera. We're going to have a couple of things where you interact and you're part of the presentation, so heads up, please keep that ready. A quick introduction as to why we started the company in the first place. This was 2019, 2020, the middle of the pandemic. For various reasons, personal and professional, I took a break, used the time to write this book, and someone's going to win a copy of it at the end of this session. Hopefully you like it, whoever gets it. But the reason I bring up the book and shamelessly plug it in this conversation is because I attended 56 live sessions on Zoom, YouTube, and a whole bunch of online platforms on how to write, edit, and market a book. Class sizes from as little as 11 students to 1,200. And the only common thing to all of them was the fact that people were not participants, they were mute spectators. The presenters were talking, like I've been doing so far at this time, just talking. It's a one-way conversation. And there was no real reaction from the audience. They might ask a question, but they wouldn't really acknowledge their answers. So the question became, when you cross a certain size, can the audience be engaged participants? And that's what we try to address with StreamAlive. And let me do that with an example. So folks, if you don't mind scanning this little QR code over here on my screen, I'm just going to wait for you to do that. And we're going to kick it off with a quiz question, okay? You can't Google it. I know you've got phones with you. All right, I'm just going to wait for everyone to put their phones. Yep, awesome. You should be in a chat right now, which again is one of our pet peeves. I mean, here we are in this time and space. Why can't we chat with each other about the session that we are in? And you can just chat with each other because you're all connected like you are on WhatsApp or something. But the moment I start this interaction, your screen should change in the bottom to ask you this question. Right? And the question is a simple one. Apple made its first VC investment in the mid-1980s in a company. Can you just type what you think the company is? Let's get some answers going there. Microsoft. Okay, Tango for 4. Microsoft. Peach. All right. We got 2 people saying Microsoft. Interesting. Any more answers besides that? Again, the simplicity is you're just participating with the chat, putting your answers out there. And we got Microsoft and Peach. I'm going to give it to Salesforce. Interesting. They came a little later, but that's a good guess. Microsoft is close enough because the first investment Apple made was in PowerPoint, which was then acquired by Microsoft. So how's that for a piece of trivia? Apple made their first return on VC investment from Microsoft. That's what we're trying to do with presentations. I mean, we've had PowerPoint for 30 years and people are still talking. Can we change it to talking, listening, which is kind of what we're trying to do over here with StreamAlive. Can we make presentations conversations and therefore make spectators, not just spectators, but participants? 4 parts to the platform: plan, increase, track, and analyze. I'll give you a glimpse of each of these 4 parts, and if you forget the 4, just remember the first letters, P, I, T, A, or Peter, right? So those are the 4 parts to the platform. Plan is what I did before the session. I created this run-off show that you're seeing right now, which is really this. It looks like a PowerPoint deck, except between slides, you've got these things called visual interactions, like the question I just asked you. And as you can see, I'm going to ask you a few more in a little bit. Okay, another question. If you were to host a class or attend a class. It can be about anything, okay? It can be about kite surfing. It can be about making beanie hats for little poodles. It can be about anything. If you were to host or attend a class, what subject might you do that in? Give me a couple of suggestions. I want to use your suggestions as an example of if I was stuck with creating a question, how I would go about doing that. So would love some creative suggestions over here on AI, okay? Traffic control, okay? Haven't heard that one before. All right, I'm going to go with traffic control, sailing. Okay, traffic control or sailing. Let's go with sailing since that's something we can kind of imagine in some ways. So let's say I'm doing an online class on sailing. Don't ask me why I'm doing an online class on sailing, but let's assume I'm doing that and I want to run a poll and I need ideas for a poll. So I say I need ideas for a session and okay, this is where I'm going to just go the default right now unless I change the area. I'm not able to move my cursor here, but let's say I was doing it on inclusivity and diversity, you get the idea. The AI would recommend questions and options that I can do with it. So I can say, okay, this is an interesting question that I could do if I were doing a session on inclusivity and diversity. So the whole idea is it does not just ask you to create your run-off show, actually comes up with options for you to create your run-off show over here. I want to show you a few of the other things here in StreamAlive. As you've gathered, the central theme is put things in the chat, like you've been doing all this time so far. And here's the most amazing thing about the platform. You've been doing it on your mobile phones, but if you were joining this session on Zoom, or on YouTube Live, or on Twitch, or Google Meet, or Microsoft Teams, or any of these platforms that we support, you would be participating with the chat in each of those platforms. So if you were using StreamAlive on let's say Zoom, or on a hybrid session, the people in Zoom would simply type in the Zoom chat. They don't have to install anything. They don't need to do anything else. They would simply participate off the Zoom chat. Increasing engagement, very simple. Ask people questions, acknowledge their answers, a whole bunch of visual interactions. I'm going to show you a couple of them. Like this is our classic icebreaker where we ask people, hey, where are you joining us from? So if you folks don't mind typing where you came in from, all right, we got someone who came in from Ohio. Again, the platform is intelligent, so if you say something like I flew from this place or I am from this place, it's automatically going to recognize a location and map it out over here. So as you type locations, we've got a couple more people here, we've got folks around the states. I can zoom into different locations based on the answers you folks are putting in over there, and it's going to show up little dots over here. So we've got a few more people, not surprisingly, from Europe, from Cologne, from Italy, and so on and so forth. Imagine hundreds of people in the map lighting up at a Christmas tree. In the interest of time, I'm just going to jump through, but we've got polls, we've got a lot of other interactions, and the whole idea is use chat to increase engagement by giving the audience a voice. And StreamAlive also tracks the chat, so it does some interesting things. If you were to type a question, for example, okay, someone has a question, does StreamAlive work in hybrid sessions? So here's what's happened. StreamAlive has been reading the chat, figure out anything that smelled like a question, including this one that doesn't even have a question mark, and pulled it into a separate silo automatically. So I could answer this and just say, absolutely, it works with in-person, remote, and a combination of both. Right? So a lot of other features that read the chat. You could ask people to share links, and StreamAlive would automatically curate them as general links, as LinkedIn links, and so on and so forth. So you could share that with your audience afterwards, because you often find there's a lot of gold in chat at the end of sessions, and then everyone goes, oh God, I wish I'd recorded that or captured those links. You mentioned that we're going to pick one of you, so everyone who participated in the chat, your names are automatically picked up by StreamAlive, and we can kind of spin a wheel, and we're going to see who that ends in. Again, who's Tango for 4? If you don't mind raising your hand, who went with Tango for 4? Okay, that's Tina, and she's part of the StreamAlive team, so she doesn't qualify. So we're going to knock her out over here, close this, and do it again, because we don't want to give Tina something that she has access to already. So you're going to pick someone else who's not Tango for 4. Marco? Thank you. Would love to give you a copy of this and this t-shirt, not this one, but a similar one. Yes. Finally, you can analyze engagement. So, I could, after the session is over, and I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do after the session, I could go into StreamAlive, look at my analytics, and analyze it and pull up everything we did, including who participated, what things we did, what the responses we got, what are the questions that came, and click on this to get one mother of all Excel files with everything in there. So that's the fourth part of the platform, the ability to analyze. And our whole idea is, we asked this question earlier, can we transform talking to listening? And that's exactly what we do with StreamAlive. Would love for you to take it for a spin, streamalive.com, sign up for a free account. We are right there in the corner, right next to the door, so if you want to see it in action, please drop in and say hello. And the secret to engagement is quite simple. Acknowledge people, tell them I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you, and the rest just takes care of itself. That's us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lux. Just a couple of questions from me as we wrap this up. Who is this aimed at? Is it at a specific type of event, size, sector? Who's it aimed at?
So a whole range, but the way we talk about it is it's teachers, preachers, sellers, entertainers, marketers, and facilitators, right? Because we've got people using us for all hands and town halls, people using us for webinars, and people using us for large events and conferences. The sweet spot is anything over 20 people.
Yeah.
But it works anytime mass communication breaks down, which is when you have more than 10 people in the room. It's impossible to acknowledge everybody.
Yeah.
So it would be from 10, and the maximum we've been used in is by someone who works with Mr. Beast. It's a guy called Airrack, who did a YouTube live session where creators were punished with a menu card of punishments that the audience picked from. And we had 55,000 people voting at that time.
Wow.
Through YouTube Live. It was the largest live audience-powered event on YouTube. So that's the maximum we've seen so far. So from 10
through to 55,000. That's amazing.
That's right.
And going forward and looking into the next 1 to 2 years, what have you got coming up?
So a couple of weeks back, we were at Zoomtopia, and it was interesting to see the recurring theme that happened across in the Bay Area. And everyone is talking hybrid. And I think if you look at commercial real estate, for example, it's very, very evident that some form of hybrid is here to stay.
Yeah.
What we found is any hybrid solution tends to treat one group of people, either the people in the room or the people online, as a second-class citizen with lesser perks than what the other group has. So that's a big thing we're going after, which is ensuring that there is parity between the different groups, so nobody feels left out. And it's essentially what it says here, connect, interact, include, and engage. And do that seamlessly across rooms, whether they're digital or physical.
That's really good. And does that include like accessibility and inclusivity as well?
Of course, and I think there's always work to be done that's more than that. So that's a step that we'll need to make more strides in as well, because it subscribes to the same ethos, right, in terms of including everybody. Absolutely.
Exactly. So in one sentence, my final question, in one sentence, what are you most looking forward to with what you're doing in the next year?
Changing the way people communicate.
Yeah.
And I think there's a beautiful opportunity for any large group to communicate in a much better way, and that's really what we're looking forward to.
That's really good. Is there any more questions from the audience? No. Okay, well, thank you very much. If anyone's watching this, I know it's being recorded, just say once again your website.
Yeah, so it's StreamAlive.com. And you can sign up for a free account. Works for up to 30 people in the room, absolutely free. You can use it on any platform you want. And if you want more than 30 people, there's some plans you can go with. But take it for a spin, use it in your next live session, and hopefully you transform how people experience a live session.
Brilliant. That sounds great. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.